So what's up, Shawn, man? We'll start with you. Couple days away, man. How you feeling?
I can't wait for this fight. Even more than Wilder and Fury's rematch, I look forward to this fight more than any other fight of the year. Okay. You know, it's a real boxing fans fight, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that this is the epitome of styles make fights right here. And I think that we are in for the fight of the year. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot that's transpired this year, but even yet and still, to be able to have a fight like this on the docket and just a few days away from it, I think it's fabulous.
And still at the MGM, you know, which, all the fights are there now, but I still try to tell myself this is still a super fight at the MGM as normal.
Wow, I think that this would have been a super fight. I mean, we've seen it with Mayweather time and time again. We've seen it with Canelo out here, a few other fighters. But I think that this would have had that same type of magnitude.
Possible sellout.
In the Garden, in Madison Square Garden.
The Garden.
I think better back east, but yeah, it would have been a huge fight. Still is.
You mean back east at
New York City.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
I think that fight would have been electric in Madison Square Garden. MGM too, but
let's break it down, man. I think this is, so we about to get into this. And this will probably be the first time we've done this on the Porterweight podcast. So, I mean, let's dissect this fight, man. Everybody says Lomo's got it. Lopez doesn't have what it takes. And then you got a whole host of other people who says Lopez is that next guy, and it starts now. What do you say?
Everyone I talk to in boxing that really knows the sport, fighters, trainers, are all picking Lomachenko pretty much. I'm finding it hard for a fight that is kind of billed as close to 50-50-ish to find people actually picking the young bull. So maybe I'm going against all the logic that I should, but I'm going to pick Teofimo to pull this off. I mean, hell, you need someone to, right? I mean, but I think he can. I think, you know, when he's in the cooker, I think he's going to have some sauce that we haven't seen yet.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. I mean, and like you said, there's a lot. The logic is like Lomachenko wins this fight, but then there's that hint of seeing what Lopez has done so far as a pro is also the fact. I mean, not just the fact that he said he's going to do things that we've never seen him do, but from one athlete to another, from one fighter to another, understanding that you just don't get it all in one night, and even through the course of 15 fights, you still don't get, you'll get 70% of a fighter, because that's not purposely what we intend to do, but it's just we do what it takes. And I think that there's some small little wrinkles that he's going to add Lopez to his game, and at the least it's going to give Lomachenko some problems. So your whole thing is, now I get it. You love everything about Lomachenko, and I'm sorry if I'm using the word love loosely, because I kind of feel like accurate. I am, but
it's accurate.
From the movement to the speed to the power, the explosion, the whole nine. Yeah. And you're like he's gonna pivot the MF off of this guy. Yeah. And I know that that's gonna happen. Lomachenko is not gonna go away from what he's done his whole entire career. Yeah. However, I think that Lopez is going to present some things in the beginning of the fight that's going to prevent Lomachenko from using his pivots. That's going to stop Lomachenko from trying to set up those little quick in and out pivoting moves that he likes to do. Sometimes he gets a guy turning. Sometimes he gets a guy off balance. Sometimes he gets a guy to take 2 steps to the right.
Make people quit. Off frustration.
Make people quit.
Frustration.
To that point, I think that is going to be the biggest thing that I'm focused on watching that fight, is making sure he doesn't get frustrated. This is Teofimo. Because we've seen some fighters, not just random dudes, get frustrated. We've seen
guys.
I mean, Nicholas Walters, Rigondeaux. You had these guys that were great fighters, and they were just like, it was like they were fighting a ghost. Yeah. And so I think if Teofimo can stay even keeled, like you mentioned, can go in there, can be focused, can be, his normal self, and not because there's at some point there's going to be a run where Lomachenko,
where he gets his ass kicked for a round or so.
Lomachenko's movement confuses him, and he's going to be rattled. as long as in that moment he can stay composed, don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows. As long as he can kind of stay in that place, I think that'll be big for him.
He and his father,
for sure.
Because what happens when his dad in the corner in between the rounds?
I didn't think about that one.
Because Loma's Loma, he's inevitably gonna have his rounds where he does what he does.
And for me, that's the biggest separation in this fight. So you're talking about not only a young fighter with not that many fights, but you also have a young corner. Your dad, that means your dad is limited in experience.
Yeah.
And your dad, because you've had your way in so many fights, your dad hasn't had to figure out what do we need to do to make this work, to make this happen. So interesting enough, you may have a fighter who stays in the right place mentally, but then comes back to the corner and doesn't get the right information.
Panic.
Or the coach panics, hey, keep doing it, it's gonna work. Keep doing it, it's gonna work. So for me, the biggest separation in this fight is the corners. We know that Lomachenko and his dad, they've figured out the recipe to success, and they've done it time and time again. Mm-hmm. But we've also seen Lomachenko make adjustments. We've seen Lomachenko change from the first round to the end of the fight. So we have not had to see Lopez do that. And for me, that's the biggest thing when we talk about the young bull. The experience really does matter right here. Because you're going up against an Olympian. You're going up against a dude that takes his first world championship fight in his second fight and has been on the rise and has not looked back one time.
I wonder how much that fight helps with this one. Not that Teofimo and Salido are similar, but the fact that they can really bring it and that they can be aggressive where the other guys are aggressive, but also a little more not strategical with the way they are, but like I think Salido, when he beat Lomachenko, the only guy to do it so far, he was on his ass from the opening bell. Yeah, was making sure to keep the pressure on him. And I wonder if Teofimo has been able to see that. Obviously, Lomachenko has grown leaps and bounds since then.
Absolutely.
But I wonder if he sees that and says, okay, this fight he lost was a lot of pressure. He was young, but I wonder if that in a moment, if he decides to put his foot down a little more harder on the pedal.
And to your point, it's not about changing who you are as a fighter. Yeah. It's when we say, hey, watch film on a guy, we're not saying, hey, whatever this guy did, that's the only thing you can do to beat this guy. What we're saying is, hey, find moments to push him up against the ropes. Right. Find moments to get up inside his body and smother him and not allow him to breathe. Yep. Let him know that he didn't get in the ring with a kid tonight. He got in the ring with a man tonight.
Who's bigger than he is.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, there's more ways to use someone else's game plan without completely aborting who you are as a fighter and making that a part of
taking
who
pieces
you are.
Of it. That
Absolutely.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen Teofimo in a fight with Nakatani. Well, things wasn't going right. He didn't get frustrated, but you could tell it was just like, but I didn't see the breakdown frustration that I was worried about in this fight. Yeah. He kept it together, but Lomachenko is a different beast. He can do it. My man was super long, kept him on his jab all night. But the thing I did not see that was worried me about it, that I was when I was looking back at film on Lopez, is his feet is not the greatest as I thought it was.
That's a problem.
It's more flat.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a problem.
Yes. Because if he can't, because worse can worse, Lomachenko can get on his back feet and just move all day.
That's part of why I'm picking Lopez. I've never seen Lomachenko beat guys off the back foot. I've never seen him step back. I've seen him step to the side all night long, but I've never seen him like in America. And as fighters are taught here, that real boom and that step back counters. It's always off the side, and I think he's going to run into shots fighting like that, just being himself.
I don't know if this is true or not, but you don't post a step straight back, right?
I was just about to say that's kind of a flaw that U.S. fighters have, American fighters have, is that, it's like once we're done, we go back. We typically don't go side to side. A lot of us don't pivot.
So you think that's more something he was trained to do?
Lomachenko? Yeah. Absolutely. Lomachenko and a lot of European fighters
are
taught. A lot of European fighters are taught to fight side to side.
You feel like he don't cross him?
opposed to
pretty much
straight, opposed to forward and backward. And interesting enough, I think that you don't, when you fight like that, when you change that angle, you force the fighter to change his angle and his offensive attack. And so you talk about Lomachenko not having or not seeing him fight off of his back foot. Well, we've never seen him against anyone who's forced him to fight off of his back foot. And more so, can anyone force him to fight off of his back foot because he's been trained to go right, angle, left?
Is it the problem that they can't find him?
A lot of times they can't find him because he steps off.
And I think the problem being his feet, like you mentioned, but I still think Teofimo has the athleticism, the speed, and the counterpunching ability to catch him coming in as Linares did. And
so it's crazy when people talk about the people that I've heard say Lopez is going to win this fight. What about Jorge Linares? Linares dropped him. You telling me Lopez can't drop him? Lopez might knock him out.
Which he might.
Lomachenko got dropped, got up, and kept fighting, and ended up making Linares quit.
Yeah.
So that's my argument to that. But I don't know. I mean, for me, it's really hard to distinguish who's got power, who's got more power.
Yeah. I just think Teo's a better counterpuncher than people are going to expect on Saturday. That's one of the main reasons I'm picking him.
What would be your recipe for success for Teo? Would it be to catch him coming in?
To implement parts and pieces like you guys said of the Salido, because he can't wait on Lomachenko. He can't sit back and counter all night, even though I think that's what he's actually good at. Yeah. Despite being a power puncher, I think he's a counter puncher naturally.
It's not the fight for that.
Right. I think he can land good shots like that, really can, and get Loma's respect in a way no one else ever has. Mm-hmm. But he's going to have to mix it in with the jab. He's going to have to place a jab on Loma and back him up in spots. But I really think it's his counterpunching that can win him this fight.
And it's going to take a lot of time for Lomachenko or for Lopez to get respect from Lomachenko. It's going to take a long time. I'm talking, and he's got to Lomachenko's got to feel uncomfortable after about 6 or 7 rounds, feeling like, hey, things ain't really going the way we needed to go. And then he'll start to respect him and respect what he's doing in the ring. But until then, I'm telling you, he's going to look at this kid like he's young, like he's not ready. Anything he gets hit with, I guarantee you Lomachenko's going to smile at him. He's going to try to laugh it off.
Floyd Canelo.
Exactly. I mean, I really like that comparison because I think that this is very close to Floyd and Canelo.
I think age and everything is pretty close.
Yeah,
that's the consensus.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a matter of kind of like Shawn said with hopefully he can accelerate that timetable as far as the rounds that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Teofimo comes out in the first round and he's able to, whether it's huge shots or whether it's just enough to kind of get Lomachenko backing up a little bit and saying, okay, whether it's, whoa, that's huge power, or at least it's, okay, he's getting to me. So I need to adjust a little bit. And then it's going to be a matter of, for me, when I watch boxing, it's very rarely fighter A does something and fighter B adjusts and that's it.
Right.
It's what fighter A does and then fighter B reacts, fighter A reacts, and then fighter B reacts. So it's going to be, if he makes Lomachenko change up his style or his game plan on the night, then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a matter of whether the corners are able to help that, or both these guys are such good fighters and great fighters. They'll be able to also do that a little bit themselves, where they can see certain things in rounds, not just in between rounds. And in rounds and say, okay, maybe I can push down the gas pedal a little bit more. Maybe I need to fight a little more on my back foot.
A lot of people refer to a fight as a cat and mouse game, where one guy's moving and he's hitting and moving. And I just feel like this is going to be like cat versus cat. Both guys are fast. Both guys are slick. Both guys know their moves and they're on top of them every time. I really see this like a back and forth.
It's a chess match.
This is very much so a chess match.
See, king stays the king.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a chess match. I can see him up early. Loma can go up early. If I'm Lopez, I try to jump on him ASAP. And it's
how do you jump on him?
Yeah. How do you jump on him? I don't know.
He has to win early. He's got to make Lomachenko feel uncomfortable early.
Immediately, like Shawn says, first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
What are you waiting on? Go get him.
Yeah.
This is.
I ain't say that.
No. I'm just saying that's just. But he can't wait this fight. He has to go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, Loma could probably pick him apart.
But if he gets a couple of moments early on in the fight, first 3 rounds,
just like Shawn said,
where he touches Lomachenko and Lomachenko isn't able to touch him, Lomachenko's gonna come out 4th round, 5th round, trying to put his foot on the gas pedal. And I think that
could get interesting.
That puts things in Lopez's hands.
Look at this guy. He acts like he's a boxer.
A lot like Shawn said. I believe it too. Lopez is a much better counterpuncher than.
Man, you got me hyped for the fight again, man.
I know this is the fight of the year, man.
I'm going on vacation and everything.
I can't wait.
Yeah, this, and Lopez is a much better counterpuncher than people even know, and I think that it sways not only the momentum but the speed of the fight, because now you have someone who likes to control where it happens and when it happens. Now they feel forced to make it happen. And then that just changes everything. I mean, I've been in fights where when I was an amateur, it was about the judges pushing the button. Yeah. And three judges push a button at a certain amount of time and you get a point. And there will be international fights that I've been in where guys are up by 5 points and they start moving. They start moving against a counterpuncher. Now this counterpuncher's got to be first.
Yeah.
The counterpuncher doesn't know how to be first. And it just changes the whole complexion of the fight, you know? So
that's kind of like what we said with Danny Garcia and Errol.
Yeah.
That Danny's typically the counterpuncher and he might need to go a little more forward. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm actually more curious on Lomachenko in this fight than I am of Teofimo. Just because I wonder if Lomachenko, again, we mentioned it with Teofimo and outside of that this one has gotten a little testy in the buildup with both of them.
Yeah.
And even outside of that, I wonder if Lomachenko is sitting there and saying, you think this guy is on my level?
Yeah.
Like this guy here, the young kid that, he's great, but is he on my level?
Yeah.
So I wonder if he even has a little bit more of an edge than he normally does. Mm-hmm. Which he does have a nice little edge to him.
Yeah,
I think people have started to appreciate that.
He got a cool edge.
Yeah, he's a smooth guy, and so I wonder if he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, surprisingly being the favorite. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he's like, nah, this guy, he's great, and he'll be good once I'm gone, but not yet.
I can see that too. Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, up and down, I just think that there's so many possibilities in this fight.
Yeah.
You said the only way he wins is knockout. Lopez.
Yeah,
Teofimo Lopez.
Lopez, if he wins, knockout.
It's got to be a knockout.
Otherwise, I got unanimous.
What does he get? Outboxed? He gets outpointed?
Outpointed. I don't want to say this.
Say it.
He's going to take him to school.
Yeah?
He's going to take him to school.
I don't know about that, man.
I know.
From my chair the other day.
I don't want him to go to school. Don't go to school.
Yeah.
Skip school.
If his cardio and his intangibles, his desire to win isn't at 100, Loma could make him succumb. That's what he brings out of people in the second half of fights.
I'm telling y'all right now.
And he's a young guy, so hopefully he doesn't get frustrated. Obviously, we used to get frustrated, crazier stuff when we were young.
Yeah.
Now we're older, we're like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Let's stay locked in, my man.
That's what
we're pulling for you.
Oh, for sure. And I think that with this fight, like I mentioned,
the youth
off the rip is the youth and the frustration factor. Because Shawn can attest to that. If you're in the ring, you're already fighting somebody great, and you're frustrated, doesn't usually mix well. Mm-hmm. Then it's more your frustration driving you than it is, okay, I need to do A, B, and C as my game plan. Then you're mad that you can't get this guy and you don't know where he's at.
I really don't know what I can compare it to, but it's just like nothing clicks. Yeah. It's like all of a sudden nothing clicks.
When you're frustrated like that, what do you do? Just try to knock him out? Like
the few times in the ring that I've been frustrated.
I'm just gonna get him. Knock him out.
It got real bad. It got real bad. It got real bad. It got real bad just like that. And but also again, remember that this is boxing. And if you don't get knockouts, you got to win on the scorecards.
Yeah.
Most times the guy that's frustrated, he's usually down on the scorecards. Yeah. And you get to that point where the only thing you can do is hope for a knockout, you know? So I think that that's what happens most times. Why are we speaking all this into the atmosphere?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Another thing. I think he shouldn't headhunt as much because the the head will be in and out of there. He doesn't move his head as much, but the body's always there. I think Lopez should focus on body attack all night.
If you can land some...
I know he's a head guy, but...
Yeah, if you can land some punches to the body that are very distinct and everyone in the room can see this guy is going for the body and that punch landed, you score the body shots. Yeah. You know, everybody wants to know, do judges even score body shots? Did you score the jab to the body that Jason Rosario just got knocked out?
Yes.
Now, however... It's a jab to the body. Normally, you wouldn't score a jab to the body. A Floyd Mayweather jab to the body. Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, they have stabs to the body. They stab. They make it very evident that they're going to the body and they're trying to hurt you. Maybe a jab, but Charlo didn't throw the jab to the body the way Floyd would have thrown the jab to the body. You score a Floyd body shot, those type of body shots. If you up on Lomachenko, dig into the body, things like that, judges are seeing that they aren't seeing the Lomachenko that they're used to seeing, being comfortable, keeping guys off of him. They say, well, this guy must be winning the fight because he's doing things that Lomachenko I've never seen happen to Lomachenko.
Even to that, it's sometimes can be a matter of, for Teofimo, it could be because he's so offensive and he is putting the pressure on Lomachenko. It could be exactly what you're saying, that it's the activity, and as long as Lomachenko doesn't make you look silly with his defense, as long as you're on him and you're throwing punches and you're not too far away and you're not missing, like we all love the Caleb Plant when Uzcategui and he looked over his shoulder. Like, as long as Lomachenko's not doing stuff like that to you, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I hope it don't get that bad. I can see it getting that bad.
No, it ain't gonna get that bad. I'm telling you, man, this is gonna be a great fight.
He had me in the interview. He had me a little convinced. Yeah. I still think Lomachenko wins.
Oh yeah, he almost pulled me back in.
Yeah, but the fact that he is acting like there's something in his arsenal we haven't seen yet is interesting. It's interesting enough from my perspective.
Don't tell me you didn't enjoy what you saw, because I know you did. What you need to do now, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit that notification button. Check us out every week, every Tuesday, something new for you right here on the Porter Way Podcast.